Hello my lovely humans, welcome back to my channel MFCA, and today we are going to go through, I newly found at the beginning of the month, I found a nice little wholesome channel of comedy sketches called Shiloh and Bros, and so it's about these kind of preteen, teenage kids who do little sketches, and Among Us, you might be able to see my little Among Us light that needs battery changes, but I digress. I love Among Us, and they have an entire series dedicated to Among Us, and as is very common, they have a pretty standard set of people who play Among Us in the game. They like do real life Among Us, and instead of it being it's more of a someone left a dish in the sink, or someone didn't change the toilet paper roll. Those are the crimes, and they try to figure out who the imposters are in the group with the otherwise standard rules. So going based on, we're going to start with, this is going to be kind of a multi-part thing because I'm really amused and really entertained by them, and I was never that cool at their age, just saying, a little jealous, but they're still really fun. So because of this whole thing, I decided that they have a song, which I will link here, doesn't belong to me, and below, called Red is Sus. And the main character, Orange, or Judah, is always saying that the red character, Britney, is always sus. Regardless if it's the very beginning of the scene and like the crime was just found, he wants to throw her out every single time. And eventually some people just kind of get on board and they're like, yeah, red is sus, we think so too, let's go. And so I was like, who is the most sus on Shiloh and Bros Among Us series? So this is purely going based off of their Among Us character of themselves. I don't know if these are their real names or not. I wouldn't blame them if they weren't, but we're gonna go off of that. It's a lot of fun, personal opinion, and we are only judging them by their Among Us imposterisms. So let's go through the criteria. So there is the classic red is sus meme that we all know about. However, is Britney's character Red actually the most sus in Shiloh and Bros? So in order to be a sus imposter, who's the most sus, we are going to go based off of a few other things. One, you actually do have to get imposter, but that's not going to hold a lot of weight. Two, how many crewmates did they get out? Like, you have to be a successful imposter, which means committing crimes and getting crewmates out. So how many crewmates did they get out? As in, they either threw out themselves or through manipulation in the meetings got someone thrown out. Not just that the group was randomly like, yeah, that makes sense, let's go ahead and do that, or let's just do this just because, and vote somebody out. It has to be direct manipulation that caused the person to get out on behalf of the imposters. So then, of course, crimes, number of crimes committed as the imposter, and we're going to go with the crimes that are definitively by that imposter or that character as imposter. And then to be successful, you have to last pretty long to commit more crimes and get more crewmates out. So who makes it to the end and then an imposter win? You can get out a bunch of people, you could commit a bunch of crimes, you can make it really far in the game. You can make it to being in the last three. But if you don't win the game, if they catch you out at the end, that's not a successful imposter run. So I'm going to go off of the first 10 episodes in the series. So this is the standard unmodded versions of Among Us that they're playing by in the first 10. And the only one that's a slight exception that actually caused a monkey wrench into things is where there were 9 imposters and 1 crewmate. I'm going to say a spoiler alert right now. I'm going to try to not be as spoily as possible, but just to cover my bases, spoiler alert. Also, just because of timing, part of this is going to take place in the day, and some of it's going to take place at night, because I'm an adult who has to work. Anywho, so let's start with our titular character, Shiloh from Shiloh and Bros. She is typically depicted as purple in the Among Us series. And so Shiloh has gotten imposter 4 times. And the number of crewmates that she has gotten out over those 4 times is 6. Her crimes that she's committed, some of them are a little bit off, so it's 10 to 11. And then did she make it to the end? She made it to the end 3 out of the 4 times that she was imposter. And then she's won 3 times as imposter. So that's her record there. The next person we're going to go with is another regular character, the blue character, Elijah. He has been imposter twice. Only 2 times that he's gotten to be imposter. He is notorious for not being good at the imposter and is almost always a crewmate. Let's see, the number of crewmates that he's gotten out is 2. Pretty much split. He got 1 each time he was the imposter. Then the number of crimes he's committed is also 2. He has only committed 2 known crimes in his imposter run. And again, it was 1 crime per run. He's made it to the end once as imposter, and he has won 0 games as imposter. We're going to go for the next character who's a regular. Her name is Mary. She's usually depicted as white, and her character is that she is just kind of not there. She's very, what are we doing? Oh, I don't know. I didn't know what color vented. She's that character. She's very funny. We'll go into that in another video. But Mary has only been the imposter 2 times as well. She has only gotten 1 crewmate out in either of her runs. And she's committed 3 known crimes that are definitively her crimes. She has only made it to the end. Well, as imposter, she's made it to the end twice. And she has 1 imposter win under her belt for that. Another person who only has 2 is Daniel. Daniel is usually like a cyan or green color. His color varies kind of a lot. He bounces a lot. He's been black a couple times. It's mostly cyan though. And he has gotten imposter twice. He has gotten 2 crewmates out, so 1 crewmate each time, definitively that he threw out or got out through manipulation. Through his run as imposter, he definitely helped, just voted out other people, of course, but through his own doing, he's gotten out 2 crewmates. He's committed 5 crimes. It's a lot of crimes for only being imposter twice. And I am counting venting as a crime, by the way, since that's something only imposters can do. He's only made it to the end as imposter once and has 0 imposter wins. Let's see. Our next person is David. Now, I kind of considered making David a one-off character, but because he was in there pretty frequently, we're gonna stick it out with him being one of our regulars. He's often depicted in black or dark blue, and he has been imposter once. He has 0 crewmates that he has thrown out. He has committed 2 crimes. He's made it to the end once as imposter, but has 0 imposter wins. And the last person that we're going to talk about and we are continuing at night with Josiah. Now, Josiah is usually seen in black or a captain's uniform in later episodes. And other than the 9 imposters versus 1, Josiah has only been imposter in 1 regular game. He got 0 crewmates out in either one. He's committed 4 known definitive crimes that are his, and he has not made it to the end in the regular game. I mean, I guess technically almost all of them made it to the end except for 2 in the 9 versus 1 imposter crewmate. And then he has 0 imposter wins. That leads us into our next lowest person, which is William, or Willie, who is often seen in a green coloring of some sort usually. And in the first 10 regular series, Willie has only been the imposter in the 9 versus 1 game. He has not gotten any crewmates out because otherwise they would have won. And he has committed 2 definitively known crimes. He has not made it to the end, except if that you count that one thing, even though he was not voted in a voting situation. It was just that the crewmate finished their tasks. And then at that time, 0 imposter wins. And again, Willie could kind of be considered a one-off, but I added him as a regular character cast because he was in often enough that he qualified. Then for our one-offs that we've been talking about, these are the characters that get switched out, the last 2 or 3 characters that get switched out to fill the 10 you need for an Among Us game. And so 4 of them have been imposters. And if we're tallying up, a new person is more likely to get imposter than one of our regulars at this moment. Then they have gotten 2 crewmates out. They have committed 6 total crimes that are definitively their crimes. And only 1 has made it to the very end in the first 10. And there are 2 imposter wins with the one-off characters winning. Then we go back to our regular crew, and now we have Micah. Micah is usually dark green, but has been pink on some occasions and is often seen with the mini crewmate Jocelyn. In the first 10, Jocelyn joins in about 4. Game 4 is when she joins in. But we're just going to group those 2 together for now as just Micah. And so he has gotten to be imposter in the first 10 4 times. So he has that under his belt. He has gotten 3 crewmates out. 2 of them have been Judah, who is the orange character, just to remind you. Then the number of crimes in the first 10 episodes of the 4 times that Micah was an imposter, he's committed 8 known crimes. He has made it to the end 0 times as the imposter, like in a meeting setting type of thing. And then number of imposter wins is 2. He has 2 imp wins under his belt. Then we have the rivalry, the one we've been waiting for, Judah and Britney. Britney being our red versus sus, and since Judah is the one who's always accusing her, we're going to start with him and then compare him to her. In the first 10 of the Among Us series, Judah has been the imposter 3 times, and that's quite a lot. Because the one-off characters, even though there have been 4 of them, they were all individuals. So each one of them had only been the imposter 1 time each. There were just 4 of them that were non-regular characters. Micah has been it 4 times, and Shiloh's been it 4 times. Up until this point, Judah's been it 3 times. So of the regular crew, he is currently the 3rd highest imposter. Is 3. I will note that one of the times he was imposter was when Red was an imposter as well. And he got out those 3 crewmates with Britney's help. He has gotten 0 crewmates out on his own. He has committed 4 known crimes that are definitively him. Then we have, did he make it to the end? out of the 3 times, he has made it to the end in a meeting setting twice. So he's very good at making it to the end of these meetings. Then, imposter wins, he only has one of 3. Now we have Britney. Is Britney the most sus? Well, let's look at that. Britney, being red, has been the imposter 5 times. So literally 50% of the time, Britney has been the imposter. Some of those times have been back to back to back. 4. She has gone out 4 of the crewmates. And again, 3 of those were with Judah. But based on the track record, Judah only got out 3 with Britney. She has gotten out 4. And so it's more likely than not that she could have gotten those other 3 out on her own as well. In fact, I'll tell you what's funny, the one imposter that she did get out entirely by herself was Judah. Then, did she make it to the end? She made it to the end in a meeting setting once. And she has 2 imposter wins out of 5. So even though she got imposter a lot, she only successfully won 2 of the 3. And also it is worth noting for Britney that one of her 5 times was when everybody was imposter except for one crewmate. So by regular game standards, not like the weird one, she's only been imposter 4 times. And so her being able to throw out 4 people in those regular games, she has 4 out of 4 for them. Number of crimes she's committed has been 4. So with that, going into the spoiler alert, knowing that in the 9 versus 1, our crewmate was successful. Who is our most sus according to my list? Based on how many times did they get imposter, crewmates removed, making it to the end, crimes committed, and winning. Coming in at number 3 is red. Britney, girl, you sus. Orange is kinda right. Because even if we just go with normal non-9v1 gameplay, she's still at 4 out of 9 times. So still at that halfway mark or just under the halfway mark. And if we go for the full 10, including the 9v1, 5 out of 10 times, 50% chance you're getting an imposter compared to almost everybody else. Not a great look, sis. And not to mention, she has a very good success rate. Out of, again, even if we just go with the regular games, she's won half of her games. 2 out of 4, she's won as imposter. She's gone out at least one person in every single one. And again, given the track record, I'm pretty sure she could have gone out those other ones without Judah. And she's made it to the end at least one of those 2 win times. So you're sus, girl, compared to the getting of the imposter, which leads to everything else, and the number of people you've thrown out and crimes you've committed. Yeah, you're number 3 on the sus list. Coming in at number 2, though, now here's the thing. 2 and 3 are smidgens of being close. Number 2 actually being a successful imposter who is more sus than Britney is Micah. Micah has been the imposter an even number of times with Britney. And I didn't just forget her name. And he has thrown out 3 people. 2 of them have been Judah. So, if you want to get rid of Judah, have Micah be the imposter. He seems to target him a little bit. And Micah has committed the most crimes out of everyone, almost. He's committed 8 crimes. This boy be breaking rules. He's venting. He's pulling Wi-Fi. He's doing all kinds of stuff. In fact, Judah is currently the only person who has intentionally self-reported. Then also going into that is he's won an equal number of times to Britney. He's been it technically less times than Britney if you include the 9v1, and he's won more than her based on that. Has he made it to the end as the imposter? No, but when you're the one throwing out the most people, committing the most crimes for sus to be thrown around, you know, making it to the end isn't always the most important thing. So then, and of course, if you're the one committing the crime, you're more likely to get caught. So then that leads us to who on my list and criteria is most sus in the Shiloh and Bros Among Us group? Shiloh herself. That's right. The most sus person who always is the one who goes, anyone sus at the beginning of every meeting, is our girl Shiloh. Purple is sus. In fact, if you want like a little, I don't know if this was intentionally recognized, but in the Red is Sus music video, Micah actually mistakenly says purple at one point in the song, going, oh wait, no, isn't purple sus? Yeah, she is. Purple is more sus than red by a lot. Not only has Shiloh gotten imposter 4 out of 10 times, which again is equal to or almost equal to Britney, but she has 3 imposter wins with that. The only imposter game that she's lost was the 9v1 game. Anytime she's a regular imposter, she wins in the game. And not only is she a winner, she makes it to the end 2 out of those 3 wins. She's made it to the end. And out of the 4 times that she's been imposter, she's making it to the end at least half of the time because she's that good of a player. And she has the most number of crimes and the most number of throwouts. So she's gotten rid of at least 6 characters. Like whether it's through manipulation of her controlling the narrative of what's going on, or of her just going up and going, haha, I got you. She's gotten the most. And of the crimes that she's committed, she's done 10. She has 9 to 10 definitive crimes that she's committed, including separate venting trips and just doing regular imposter stuff. She is the most sus. She never gets regularly accused, which makes her an even better imposter. I don't know if it's just because she's the second youngest in the group next to Jocelyn or what it is, but even though her track record shows she's sus, she also flies under the radar pretty hardcore. So, congratulations, Shiloh. You are sus. I mean, Britney, you're sus too, but not as sus as Shiloh and Micah.